Okay, we're live.
We're live, are we? We're off
Yep,
the mark.
we are off the mark, dude.
Nice one, buddy. Good morning, everyone. Morning, everyone. Morning,
guys.
Daniel. Yeah, how we doing?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Just getting stuff sorted.
As we do, mate. As we do, putting out fires all over the place by 10 o'clock. Yeah, that's the one. What's it doing over there? We've got heavy snow, like. I don't
Yeah, I
think we've
literally
got
just
a lot
looked out the
today.
window before, and yeah, snowing pretty heavy.
Yeah, yeah, because you're back up Tyneside way, aren't you?
Yes, I
Yeah,
am.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
Thought so, mate, yeah.
it's nice to see for a change.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking like if it eases off a little bit today, maybe get out for a walk or get out in a walk in it tomorrow. It's nice. It's nice. It's a bit change of scenery, isn't it? It makes I think some of the walks that we've done to death by now, doing the same walks day after day, walking on the same streets. It just looks a little bit different, doesn't it? It's just like a slight change of scenery. It's like everything's white today.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is. I mean, we've mentioned it before. There's no such thing as bad weather, just the wrong clothes.
Exactly
If you
right,
if you
yeah.
if you can get wrapped up nice and warm.
Yeah, that was the first time I'd heard that, so that's cool. I like that.
It'll stick with you, mate. You can use it.
Yeah, will do.
It's yeah, it's just like I say, it's just a little bit of change, isn't it? I think a little bit of variety, which I think we can all probably do with a little bit of at the minute. What we into February, January's done, so rolling forward, man, a little bit more daylight every week, every day. Right, so let's dive into it then. So we're going to be looking at, because it sort of links in with what we're doing today, because we're going to be looking at sort of like sleep and sleeping patterns and the effect that not getting enough sleep can have on your mood and on your body. And I find that this time of year, like my sleep will tend to suffer. Just obviously with the change in daylight, like natural like rhythms and stuff like that. Because I find like when it's getting dark at 4 o'clock, by the time it gets to 7, 8 o'clock, it feels like bedtime because it's like it's been dark forever. Do you know what I mean? It does. It can mess with your sleeping patterns, and then there's all other sorts of things, of course, going on in the world at the minute. We've got plenty to, of course, stress over, and worries and stuff like that, and stuff that we're not so sure about, and that can interfere with our sleep as well. Stress, either sort of consciously, subconsciously. We could be laid there awake, struggling to get to sleep. We might get to sleep. We might have sort of broken sleep throughout the course of the night, or you might wake up first thing on the morning, and as soon as your eyes are open, it could be 5, 6 o'clock. As soon as your eyes are open, your brain kicks into gear, and it's just hard to switch back off from there again.
Exactly, bud.
Yeah. I've had mornings like that where I don't know why. It's not even something that sort of, like I say, it's conscious. You can just sort of wake up, being you're wide awake, eyes are open, and that's it. And it does have a big effect throughout your day. And that was one of the first things that I would always sort of work with, and when I would take a new client on in the gym. When it was. They would be, of course, wanting to sort out their training plan and their food and stuff like that. Can you help with nutrition? And you could sometimes take a bit of a step back and sort of look beyond that, and you think, well, what's your sleeping like? Because that has a huge effect on how well you can do the rest of your day. Those 16 hours, whatever it is that you're going to be awake. You can have the best plan in place. You can have everything set out. Your meals are done. You know exactly where you've got to be and when. If you don't get a good night's sleep and you're not feeling sharp, you're not on the ball, all of that can go out the window, pretty quickly. You might have your morning exercise to do. You think, I'm going to get up, I'm going to do my stretching, I'm going to get out for a walk. You have a bad night's sleep, and so I'm going to get up, I'm going to have a coffee, I'll give myself an hour on the couch and see where I go from there. So it can really sort of knacker all of our other plans as well that we've sort of got going on.
Yeah.
So just to get the old brain working, we're going to start with a little quiz. Just all to do with sleeping and stuff like that. So grab yourself a pen and a piece of paper, and then if you're watching back later on during the week, or sort of watching back in your own time, when we get to the end, that's when I'm going to go through all the answers. So you can do the quiz along with us. Pause it there if you want to take any more time on any of your questions or on any of your answers, and then we can just press play and catch up with us from there. So yeah, grab yourself a pen and a piece of paper. We'll go through just one question at a time, and then we'll break down the answers at the end. Cool. So I'll give you guys a couple of minutes just to get some bits together, and then we'll jump in.
All good, man.
Spot on, mate. Spot on. I mean, what's your sleeping like, buddy? I mean, are you a good sleeper? Do you?
It depends, man. Like, I'm really sensitive to caffeine actually, so I need to be careful
Mhm,
about how
mhm.
much I have. I think if I have a coffee after about 7 o'clock, I'm just done. Like that's me awake like all night. So
Yeah,
I just need to kind of watch out with caffeine and things like that. I think.
it's like stimulants, isn't it?
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
You're not trying to get yourself ready into like pre-sleep and getting yourself ready to wind down for the day. It's like, oh, I could just do a coffee, or like I'm just gonna chuck a coffee in.
But it's like people like my dad and that they could drink like or my mum even can drink like 4 or 5 coffees a day, and it just like literally does nothing to them. But for me, it's like if I have one coffee, like I really feel it.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I think people respond differently as well to it.
I think you've got to build up a tolerance as well.
Yeah,
You must build up a tolerance. Like, yeah, exactly like that, mate. My dad will come in from shift at like 10, 11 o'clock at night, and he'll make a brew before bed.
yeah. I know people who
Yeah,
do that. It's crazy.
yeah, and I'd be wired, I'd be up all night.
Yeah, people like yeah. I've seen people have tea at like really late. And I can have decaf obviously, but like I couldn't have
Yeah,
like a full on normal tea. Or like it's like a thing after a meal, isn't it? Like a lot of people, if you have a meal and that sometimes you have a coffee afterwards, but like quite late sometimes, and like I'm like no way.
yeah. Like, well, if you go to a restaurant, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
normally they'll ask you afterwards if you want any tea or coffee or something. But I mean, even just obviously, a lot more of us are working from home at the minute, where we've got that. There's not so much of a divide between work time and workspace and sort of personal time and personal space.
yeah.
You might think to yourself, oh, do you know what? I'm going to just answer some emails and do some bits until sort of 8, 9 o'clock. I'll have a coffee to get me through now,
Hmm.
just to push on because I'm getting a bit tired. I've been on since this morning,
Yeah.
and that's just kind of like a necessary thing to get you through the rest of the work that you've got to do or that you're going to do for the night. And then, yeah, you come to sleep time and you struggle to switch off because it's still in your system.
Dan's saying that if I have two strong coffees in a day, I'll usually get a horrendous migraine. But I do have a pint of tea last thing at night, and I don't know for those of you who know Dan, that he has his tea really strong as well. Him and Haytham have the tea bag left in the tea, and
Oh, that's hardcore.
do you know what I mean? I tried to do it for a while, and I honestly just couldn't hack it because like it would just make me too anxious because it's too strong. Like so, that's as strong as a coffee for me. Like a tea with a tea bag like that.
Yeah, yeah, it can be, and I think that's something to be wary of as well. You can swap like a coffee out for a tea, but just be aware that there's still going to be some kind of caffeine content in that as well. It could even be sugar. Do you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
going to have a bowl of cereal before I go to bed. Even on paper, you might not be looking at like a bowl of Cocoa Pops or a bowl of Frosties is the same as a Mars bar or something like that, but it's still putting a load of sugar into your system before you're going to try and wind down. You spike a lot of stuff.
yeah,
So like I say, within your system, and your body just goes into alert mode. It's like, right, what we doing? Loads of
exactly.
energy. So yeah, we got to be careful with stuff like that as well, and other stuff that's going to interfere with our sleep. Just before we jump into the quiz, I think something that's probably worth mentioning is screen usage as well. Sort of, they reckon that looking at screens and monitors and stuff like that can disrupt your sort of like your sleep hormones and stuff like that, which is why a lot of devices now will have like a blue screen option. Same again, it might be something that you've come across before. Like I say, your phone, your Kindle, your laptop or whatever might have like
Yeah,
a blue screen available on it that you can flick on. I mean, I have mine on most of the time, to be honest. But yeah, you can flick that on before you go to sleep, or if you are browsing or something before bed. Even if like I say, reading helps me switch off pretty well. Depending on what I'm reading.
yeah.
But of course, if you're doing it on a Kindle, you don't want the effects of staring at a screen too much before bed.
I think that's that's really really good advice because I found that as well. I think that 30 minutes before bed to try and turn all electronics off is like really pretty much optimal. I think because your brain like your sense really stimulated with like
Mhm.
if you're playing like a video game or something like that before bed, your brain's super stimulated when you're playing like a game, especially if it's like something like intense and it can be really hard to switch off afterwards. So yeah, like just kind of turning it off, leaving your phone and stuff like that, that can really help. And just winding down, you know what I mean? And I think that yeah, that there's like on a lot of phones there's like a night mode, and that is that like kind of blue light filter, and I definitely think that's really helpful as well.
Yeah. So I mean, it might just be worth having a little bit of a play around with your settings,
Yeah,
see if there is something in there that can help out. Because we all do it from time to time. It's tempting to just have a quick scroll, have a quick look at something. It might just be even something that you're going to Google before you go up. You start having a conversation with somebody. Oh, I'll just check that. Like you say, buddy. It's all stimulating your brain. Um, Especially sort of gaming and video games and stuff like that, because you're not just watching something and taking it in. Your brain's always on edge to your response to that as well. So yeah, you can be even sort of even more alert coming off something like that.
100%.
So yeah, it's really difficult. It's not just as easy as we're not machines. We can't just jump into bed and hit the power down button and reboot in 8 hours time. As handy as that might be.
Exactly.
So yeah, we know that sleep's important. But we're just going to take a little bit of a look into why it's so important, and what sort of negative effects we can start to feel if we're not getting enough. Right, buddy. So we'll launch in then. So we'll
Yeah.
go straight in. We've got question one. How many times a day is your body programmed to feel sleepy? And we've got A1, B2, C3, D4. So what we'll do, we'll just take a minute or so on each slide, work our way through. Then when we get to the end, we'll blast through all the answers. Cool. And of course, like I say, if you do want to pause just to give yourself another minute to write your answer down, you can do that and just catch up afterwards. Question two, which group needs up to 13 hours of sleep per night? So we've got A, preschoolers, B, school-age children, C, adolescents, and D, adults. Yeah, so which group needs up to 13 hours of sleep a night? Apart from me after legs day.
Classic.
Oh mate, now wipes you like a good leg session, man.
That's it. That's actually pretty much good. That's good advice as well for people struggling to get to sleep. If you do like a leg session or something like that, that'll definitely put you in dreamland. So
Oh yeah. Exercise in itself,
yeah,
because your body not only has to go through the exercise, your body then goes into start repairing itself as well. So it's just working that much harder, and it's ready for a rest by the end of the day.
that's it.
Okay, question three. Adults need less sleep as they grow older. True or false? 50-50 chance, even if we're having a guess on that one.
That's it. Yeah.
Love that. True and false. Okay, question four. About half your sleeping hours are spent dreaming. True or false?
This is an interesting one. This one.
Yeah, it's you can go like some nights. I'll have a lot of nights where I wake up and I can't remember dreaming a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously they do studies and they link people's brains up and they can actually monitor it during your sleep, and you find some really, really fascinating sort of results.
Yeah, totally. Like obviously, I don't want to say too much without giving anything away. No, I'm not 100% sure that I do know the answer, but from what I know, I don't want to give any two clues which might be too easy. But there's some really interesting stuff around dreaming. I think in general, it's just such a crazy thing that you can kind of dream just like mental stuff, and like in your dream it can feel so real, which is just so crazy.
Yeah.
But it could be something that's like totally crazy, like in insane, and nightmares as well are just horrible, like they're the worst thing
Oh
ever.
yeah.
There's nothing worse than a bad nightmare.
Yeah, to say that something like that, a dream that feels real or a nightmare that feels really real and really sort of,
Yeah.
like really threatening, it's amazing that just us being asleep triggers something that can fool our brain, which is essentially a supercomputer.
I know.
At the end of the day, and while you're asleep, you can wholeheartedly believe what you're seeing. You wake up and you go, of course that was a dream. Of course that my house doesn't look like that. I don't drive that car. But it's and I mean again, we can go on about it all day. But if you've ever seen Inception,
Yeah, that's
all
I was thinking about that as well though when we're talking about it.
the level that they go with stuff like that, it's absolutely insane. Just that whole what's reality, what's not. But yeah, we'll have a look when we get through the answers to that one.
Yeah.
Quick question five. Which of the following is the most common cause of nightmares? So I've got A, eating before bed, B, excessive alcohol consumption, C, stress and anxiety, or D, illness with a fever.
I remember that someone told me like ages ago that if you eat cheese before you go to bed that you get
What's
nightmares.
that about? Yeah, what's that about? I was told that as a kid.
So yeah, I don't know any truth to that maybe, but I've definitely heard that before. Eating cheese can give you nightmares.
Yeah, I think it's been debunked. I think
Probably, I wouldn't be surprised.
I think it has.
Yeah.
Funny you mention that actually. Alex found it's like someone who posts online the other day, just like their own channel. Someone who, if they eat cheese and dairy before bed, it triggers sleepwalking episodes.
Oh wow,
So
that's
like
pretty crazy.
she can deliberately trigger herself, and she started just filming them through the night and uploading them. Oh mate, they're hilarious.
I bet.
Like I say, like if you're sleepwalking through the middle of the living room and your dog barks and wakes you up, and you're like, oh, where am I at? What's going on here? Because you're not meant to wake a sleepwalker up, are you? I don't think.
I heard that, but then I heard someone say that that wasn't true as well. So I don't actually know. I really don't know.
Oh,
But
I'm
that's
gonna.
the thing is, like a lot of people say you're not supposed to. But I really don't know.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I've never
Yeah,
met anybody that sleepwalk ever before.
no.
So I can't even imagine how surreal it must be to like
Yeah,
just see
yeah.
someone just like a zombie, just kind of.
We're gonna have to do another session, aren't we? A deeper dive into
Yeah.
nightmares, sleepwalking, and all sorts. Class,
But
class.
like my dad used to get like night terrors and he used to like scream in his sleep and that is like really scary.
It's got to be terrifying. Yeah,
Oh
I've
man,
read about that a little bit.
yeah, like you could, it's like it's the middle of the night and you can just hear like it's like so scary.
Oh man, it would be because I mean, like, I've heard a lot about sort of like paralysis and stuff where you can't even move.
Oh, have you ever had
Yeah,
that, Rob?
I've never had that. Have
I've
you?
had it, yeah.
Oh man.
Like I've never had it like really bad, but I've had it
Uh,
where it's like you wake up from a dream, right? But your body hasn't woke up yet. So it's like you're just totally like still and like you just can't move your body or anything and you're just like literally like just staring and it's like it's so weird. It's I think I had it maybe once or twice in my life. It's a really weird feeling. It only lasts a couple of seconds, but it's very surreal.
Oh really? And then it just sort of like your body sort of catches up from there.
It's like you kind of wake up again. That's what my
Yeah,
experience
yeah,
of it was. But yeah, it's really weird, man. Just opening your eyes and like not being able to move.
yeah. That's really interesting, man.
Um,
Scary though. Scary. Sounds scary.
oh man, yeah, it is
Yeah.
really scary. Like did it made me think about that thing that people can get called locked in syndrome. I don't know if you've ever heard about that.
I think so.
It's like basically if someone has like a kind of I think that they can have like a brain aneurysm or some kind of there's certain things that you can have where it can trigger it and basically like locked in your body where like your mind can be perfectly fine but your body's like 100% paralyzed.
Ah,
um
okay.
and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's called locked in syndrome. It's really scary. So it's like you can't move any of your body but your mind's totally active. There was a
Yeah.
guy actually, I can't remember what magazine it was. It's like a really famous magazine, like a French like Vogue or something like that. And the guy who is the CEO of that, he got that, and he actually wrote a whole book by blinking. So this is a
Okay.
massive tangent, by the way. So sorry about that,
Oh no, no, no. That's
but
really interesting, man.
so what it was they figured out a system where they would have like an alphabet in front of him and like the
Hmm.
amount of times he blinked would be equivalent to x amount of letters. So like
Right,
x would
right.
be like 5 blinks and
Hmm.
then maybe like a would be like 1 blink. And he managed to write a whole book like describing his
Wow,
experiences and stuff like that of having like locked in syndrome just from blinking.
that's insane.
That's crazy, right?
That is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, man. I can't even imagine. That's got to be terrifying. I mean, you've got
Yeah.
sleep paralysis and stuff like that, which, by all accounts, can last like a couple of seconds. To maybe
Yeah.
worst accounts you've heard, like maybe it's like a night of it or something like that. For something like that to just be going on endlessly, that's it's pretty terrifying. Like,
It's pretty,
really
yeah,
is.
it's like everyone's worst nightmare, right? Like I can't,
Yeah.
it's not much worse stuff than getting that.
No. Right, we'll roll on. Question 6. We've got sleepwalking may include other complex activities such as driving a car, moving furniture, eating, or all of the above. So again, sleepwalking's a really interesting one, and I don't, to my understanding, they haven't really got a real sort of concrete reason for it. You know,
No.
not that I'm aware of, anyway. Question 7: driving while drowsy is similar to driving while intoxicated. True or false? So do we think that driving while drowsy and pretty asleep is the same as driving under the influence? Okay, question 8. If you fall a few hours behind in the amount of sleep your body needs, you can never make it up. True or false? Yeah, so can you sort of catch up on that sleep, or are you just forever going to be in a deficit and your body can't get that sleep back? Question 9: which of the following can result from not getting enough sleep? So we've got diarrhea, blurred vision, low-grade fever, or all of the above. And I think we've got 3 more. Okay, so question 10: not getting enough sleep can lead to weight gain. True or false? Yeah, so again, you know, there's a lot that links into our health, our well-being, especially our weight and stuff like that. Do we think that sleep's going to be one of those factors? Question 11: sleep disorders and chronic sleep loss have been linked to which of the following? So heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, or again, all of the above. Question 12, last 2. Insomnia is considered chronic when a person has difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep at least 2 nights a week for a month or longer. True or false? Yeah. So insomnia, it might be something that you've heard of. Maybe somebody that you know's got it, suffers with it. When does it become considered chronic? Yeah. Someone falling asleep, having trouble falling asleep or staying asleep at least 2 nights a week, for a month or longer. True or false? And then our last one, question 13: sleep apnea is characterized by pauses in breathing while you sleep. These pauses can occur how many times per hour? So we've got up to 5, up to 10, up to 30, or 30 times or more. There we go. And I think that was the last one. Yeah, cool. Nice one, guys. So 13 questions. We'll roll it back to the start. Same again, if you do want to take a little bit more time just to go back over any lucky answers, just like I say, take a little bit more time, then by all means do. So we'll just roll back to question 1 and we'll work our way through, buddy.
Yep, let's do it, bud.
And let's get some of these figured out. Okay, so question 1, we had how many times a day is your body programmed to feel sleepy? So for that one, it's B, 2 times a day. I mean, and I'm sure we all feel different, you know, depending on our routine and our lifestyles. Has a big sort of bearing on this, you know. Like I'm saying, if someone exercises more, they might feel more sleepy. Someone who's doing more sort of manual work might tire out a little bit quicker and feel like they need to sleep or want to sleep a little bit more as well. Talking at it from sort of like a biological point of view, it's twice a day. We have our normal sort of bedtime when we would normally fall asleep, and then we've actually got sort of like a mid-afternoon sort of lull, you know, sort of maybe between 1 and 4 o'clock, you know. So when you are normally coming back from your dinner and you are going through that, right, I'm going to push through this next little bit. It's not just you know. It's sort of almost biologically programmed in.
Yeah,
you're going to feel that way.
I don't know if I told you, but I remember like last year there was a couple times for like lunch when we got like, I think we had like fast food for lunch. And literally like usually I eat like quite light for lunch, and like after that honestly my whole body was just like crashed to the max. I was just like, I like literally just sucked all my energy. It just goes to show like how much of a different, if you have like a massive like lunch, like when you're not used to it, your body, especially if it's like something like quite fatty as well, your body can just be like, what the hell.
Yeah, because I think like normally, typically, you know, again, everybody's different, but your breakfast might be quite light. You might even have a lighter evening meal, but you might go for like more sort of substantial sort of like mid afternoon sort of meal. And you think there's countries like Spain and stuff like that have a siesta around about that time as well, don't
Yep.
they? You know, I know a lot of that can be to do with the heat and how hot it gets midday and needing to work through that and trying to get kids to sit in schools through that sort of heat and get them to sort of retain information and stuff. But they're not the only country that does it, and like I say, it's natural, it's sort of like built into us, to just feel like that sort of them natural rhythms, just to want to sort of either have like a little bit of a nap or have a little bit of downtime in the afternoon. Um, so yeah, like I say, that's normally the time where people go for a second coffee of the day, just to push you through that little bit. But yes, it's not just happening to you. Trust us, it's normal.
Yep.
Okay, so question two: which group needs up to 13 hours of sleep per night? And so for that one, we had it's preschoolers. So preschoolers. So the younger they are, pretty much the younger they are, the more sleep they're going to need. That is why a newborn can get up to sort of 18 hours a night. If you're really lucky. Certainly as parents, you'd be feeling lucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a chance for your body to repair itself, and sort of develop and grow and do a lot of its functions without a lot of other stuff going on as well. So preschoolers need, like I say, up to 13 hours sleep a night. Coming up to sort of school age, you're talking 10 to 11 hours a night. Teenagers 9 to 10. So I know typically you would think of all like your typical teenager just wants to sleep all the time, maybe, but you actually need less sleep then, compared to sort of when you were younger. And then as adults, we need your typical sort of between 7 and 9 hours a night. So yeah, as we get older, we actually need a little bit less.
I I really don't believe. You know what? I don't believe people when you sometimes get these kind of like gurus or whatever, or like these kind of like I don't know, whatever. Like a lot of these entrepreneur types are always like, oh, I only have 4 hours sleep a night and I feel fine, and then it's like, and I honestly just don't believe it, because I just think you can't function on 4 hours sleep. I think
No.
that I just think the lie is like straight up, but
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just like that. I'm calling that. I'm calling you out on that. But
yeah.
it'll be like, oh, disclaimer: I sleep 6 hours in the afternoon. It's like, oh, I only get 3 hours sleep a night. But
Because there's a few like celebrities who've came out and they've claimed that they only do like 4 hours sleep a night, and it's just
yeah.
like it's just not possible, is it?
No, I can't say how it's sustainable. I can understand that to a certain point your body will adapt. Um, Same as if you do the same job for 20, 30 years, getting up at the same time of day, you you can retire and you're still going to wake up at the same time just because your body gets used to it. Your body might become a little bit more efficient on running on 5 hours sleep, 4 hours sleep. It doesn't mean you're going to be optimal.
Yeah,
You might just be as tired one day as you were the last day, so you don't necessarily feel any more tired than normal because you're consistently getting the same amount of sleep. But yeah, if you're only getting 5 hours and you feel okay, how awesome might you feel after 6, 7, 8? If you're getting by on 4 or 5. And I do think that, like you say, buddy, even if that is true and they are doing that, it's not necessarily a good practice to buy into.
definitely.
That's all well and good. This idea of hustling and grinding yourself into the earth, chasing success, whatever that means, to the masses. You can really, really burn yourself out. All this idea of all work, no play sort of thing.
Totally, man. And it's like, so I just did a little quick Google job, and it was like the CEO of Yahoo says she reckons she gets 4 to 6 hours a night. Jack Dorsey of Twitter says that being the head of two tech startups didn't leave much time for rest. He was spending 8 to 10 hours at Square and 8 to 10 hours at Twitter, which left him to have like 4 to 6 hours sleep a night. Trump claims he sleeps 3 to 4 hours sleep a night. But it's like a lot of the time I literally just don't believe it, because I just think that maybe sometimes they're actually doing that, but I would say most of the time that they're definitely not. And I think that it's as you say, it's not healthy, obviously, and
Oh no.
I think that yeah, but I think it's dumb as well because like there's been times before when I've had uni or whatever, and I thought I'm just gonna stay up all night and I'll do this, and you sometimes you do that out of like need that you need to do it, but like
Mhm.
generally speaking, right, like I could spend 8 hours doing a task, right, but then if I've like only had 4 hours sleep to do it, like that day, the
Mhm.
my performance level in that task is going to be so low. Whereas compared if I have 8 hours sleep and then I spend 6 hours or even less on the task, the actual time that I spend on that task will be so much more productive than the longer amount of time
Mhm.
than obviously in the sleep deprived version. Sorry, like but did you see my point though, dude? Like
Oh yeah, 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 definitely, man, definitely. Like you're gonna be so that's sort of what we were saying there. Like, yeah, if you are getting 3-4 hours sleep a night and you're functioning, happy days. If it's working, if you've got a multi-million or multi-billion dollar company,
yeah,
happy days. You know what I mean? Like you might get 3 hours sleep a night, but every 2 months you off to the Bahamas or something like that.
yeah, exactly,
For a week or two off, and I think that there's a lot of thinking about it from a different perspective. Does coming out and saying I only work 3 hours a night and I'm successful. I only sleep 3 hours a night and I'm successful. It sort of builds this. Oh, you've got to grind, you've got to hustle culture
yeah,
to the employees that they've got working for them, and and
yeah.
and, and kind of the masses. If I can make do with 3 hours, you can make do with 3 hours, and all of a sudden we're all doing 21-hour shifts.
Do you know what it is?
But
I didn't actually even think about it from that kind of angle, but that's such a good point. That really is a good point. Yeah, it is. It's trying to kind of downplay how overworked people are as well. So that's actually a really good point.
yeah, it's trying to turn people who do that and are in a position that they have to do that into sort of heroes, isn't it?
Exactly.
You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. And I mean, it's no wonder that they are kind of claiming that they do that kind of stuff if they're trying to make their staff work on reasonable hours. You know what I mean? So
Of
it's like,
course.
um,
Of course, yeah. So it's all perspectives, mate, isn't it? It's all perspectives.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Definitely. Oh, Wib's just popped into the chat. Morning,
Hey,
Wib.
Ribs, man.
Nice to have you, mate. Okay, so we'll go question 3. Adults need less sleep as they grow older. True or false? What do we reckon? So, although we just sort of covered over the sort of the younger you are, the more sleep you need. It doesn't necessarily go the other way.
Hmm.
So the answer for this one is it's false. So once you get to sort of adulthood, um, and you need those 7 to 9 hours sleep a night, that certainly doesn't get less and less. As we get older. I mean, my grandparents over the years, same again, have said that they can make do with 5-6 hours a night. But again, they might just be a little bit less optimal. That's certainly not the case. The body just needing less as you get to sort of maybe he's 50, 60, 70 years old. If anything, the quality of your sleep becomes more important because your body is repairing and you need that rest,
100%.
to let your bones rest, your joints and all of that sort of thing. But we don't typically need less, to be sort of optimal anyway. We can maybe make do with less. If we're maybe retired, we're maybe not trying to find the energy to go out and exercise. Depending on what sort of lifestyle you're living at that point. But yeah, you still do need just as much sleep as you get older, certainly past those sorts of ages. Okay, question 4. So about half your sleeping hours are spent dreaming. So this one is it's actually false. Um, was there something you were going to mention about this earlier on, buddy?
Yeah, well, I was just about to say that I know that I didn't know that it was half or how much exactly, but I know that there is like a large percentage of your time spent asleep is actually dreaming, but you don't remember any of it. So it's
Yeah.
like when we wake up and we're like, oh, I didn't have any dreams last night. You actually probably did, but you just don't remember them. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Morning, Mel. I've just seen Mel's getting in as well. Yeah. Yeah, so we might actually get sort of a couple of hours worth of dreaming throughout the night. It's like you say, we just normally don't remember it afterwards, and typically it normally comes towards the end of our sleep as well. As we're going through different sort of because we have different like levels of sleep as well. You know, sort of like REM sleep, which is
Mm.
rapid eye movement, which I believe is the like sort of like the deep state that you get to, or the one that leaves you feeling more refreshed afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, and actually feeling like asleep, because there was I can't remember who it was now. I remember reading about it. They did this study where they were they had this guy hooked up to like the machine that was doing like his brain activity while
Yeah.
he was asleep, and every time he was starting to dream, they would wake him up.
Wow.
So he was never dreaming, but he was getting quite a lot of sleep.
Right.
But his body wouldn't register that he was sleeping. He was getting the same effects as if he wasn't sleeping at all, and
So
he was
weird.
really, really undersleeping just because he wasn't getting that portion of sleep, where he was dreaming. You know, he was getting other sort of cycles of sleep, another sort of phases of sleep, but because he wasn't settling into that one, he
Mm.
wasn't coming out feeling refreshed, restored, and actually ended up like sort of suffering a lot of health effects from that.
Well, obviously, sleep apnea. People with sleep apnea, there's a number of issues there, obviously, to do with breathing and so on. But people with sleep apnea, I think they really struggle to get like REM sleep. So they can sleep like that's, and it's one of the. I hope I'm not giving anything away here because I know we do have a sleep apnea related question, but one of the things that they report, or how they found out, is because they can sleep like 10 hours a night and wake up feeling like they've slept 0 hours.
Yeah,
So, and
knackered.
I know people who have sleep apnea, and that's what they
Mhm.
say it's like. And it's like, it's because the sleep never really goes into that like deep stage. It's always like a really light sleep. So, like,
Yeah.
they could like sleep like 10, 12 hours and just feel like they haven't even slept.
Yeah, yeah, you know, which is it's got to be really frustrating. That,
Oh, it's
do you
gonna
know
be
what I
awful,
mean? Like,
man.
oh, like I'm gonna have an early night tonight, and you go up and you get 10 hours, and you're still knackered the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's and it just shows you, you know, your quality of sleep does have a big effect on sort of the rest of your day, definitely.
Totally, man.
Um, okay, yeah, so maybe it's about 2 hours a night sleeping, you know, on average, and yeah, it normally comes sort of as we're coming out of our sleep and getting ready to wake up. Okay, rolling on. So we've got question 5. Which of the following is the most common cause of nightmares? So we've got for that one is C, stress and anxiety. You know, so again, you know, frustration in the fact that we can maybe do something to prevent eating before going to bed. You know, that's within our control. Excessive alcohol consumption, that's within our control as well to a degree. Stress and anxiety, I think we're a lot less sort of equipped to sort of eliminate. I
Yeah.
think day-to-day life, you know, society right now, especially, there's always something for us to be stressed or anxious about, you know. So I think the best thing we can do in that case is of course trying to deal with those in a healthy way, sort of process things, and of course deal with them. But it just shows why mental health is such a massive thing,
Yeah.
you know, and why it can have such a big bearing. Mental health interferes with your sleep. You're getting nightmares. You're getting unbroken sleep. You're not
That's
feeling
it.
good the
Yeah.
next day, and
In
then how
Sorry,
much?
Rob, mate. Yeah,
No, go on.
and just like that's really amplifies how bad it is, right? Because it's like not only is the person feeling stressed and anxious throughout the day, that it's interfering with the sleep as well. So it's like not even like they can have a sleep and then recover. It's because it's still affecting them in that period. So it's like
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good point, you know, because even being stressed even when you're awake, it's exhausting, you know, it's tiring, it can take it out of you. Then like you say, you go to bed and you try and have a rest, and that's normally like your reset point, isn't it? You know, and then all of a sudden we've gone from something that's maybe sort of mental health related. You have a couple of bad nights sleep, and all of a sudden it's affecting your physical health straight away. You know, so it really does link straight in. You know, and again, those sort of nightmares normally come towards the end of the night as well, which is quite interesting, you know. Um, but yeah, I don't know to what extent the whole "don't eat cheese before you go to bed because you'll have nightmares" thing, you know. I bet there's an episode of MythBusters on that. But
probably. I used to love
yeah,
that.
oh, MythBusters is class.
Classic, man.
Quality, man. Okay, so rolling on. Question 6. Sleepwalking may include other complex activities such as driving a car, moving furniture, eating, or all of the above. And that's actually all of the above.
Yeah.
Um, you know, we've got eating's one thing, you know, you maybe eating in the night, you wake up with a bad stomach the next day. Like what's going on? Moving furniture as well, going to be a little bit confusing. But then driving a car. Do you know what I mean? That's really sort of that's really out there. That's a really complex sort of task to do as well. You know,
Yep, it
um,
really is.
it might be a case of if you've been driving that much or been driving that long, it's almost sort of muscle memory and subconscious.
Yep.
Well, that might explain why your body can sort of get in and go through the motions. And again, I don't think it's particularly common, but yeah, we can actually be doing all sorts, you know, when we're sleepwalking. And again, you know, coming back to the sleep apnea and stuff like that as well. If you're living by yourself, you don't know whether you're not breathing
Oh,
in the night. You
so
don't know whether you're
dangerous.
sleepwalking. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, so dangerous.
it really is. And I know that you can get sort of like little home security cameras and stuff now, which you can get for relatively cheap and just sort of set up. So it might be something worth looking into. You know, if you are living by yourself and getting really bad sleep quality or feeling like you are.
It's actually that it's just it's good that you mentioned that, Rob, because it reminded me as well there. But like, there's actually, I don't know how good they are, to be honest. You know, I can't attest for like the quality of them, but like there's a lot of apps that you can get which are like sleep related apps. And what you do is it monitors your sleep throughout the night. And I know that if people like a lot of the like smartwatches that you can get
Yeah.
are a lot better at these. Like they're better quality. So if you do buy a good smartwatch, they're often like a function of them now. And generally, it'll monitor your sleep through the night, and then the next day it'll tell you how much like how deep, how good your sleep quality was, and so on. And with the phone apps, what you do is you usually, like, I think you have to put it on charge, and then you put it underneath your pillow, and it kind of monitors like your sleep level and stuff throughout the night. And also with the watch, obviously, I think it's just a bit easier because you can literally just sleep with it on your wrist, and it's going to kind of tell you about your sleep quality. So they're really really good. Like I say, I don't
Yeah.
think the phone one's that effective, but I think the watch ones are a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, you can get some really good insights from them.
Yeah,
Like you say, a phone app might be better than nothing.
yeah,
You know, it's just a case of obviously what's ideal. But yeah, anything like that it might even make you realize that you're getting up for the toilet 3 4 times throughout the night that you might not
yeah.
even realize. You know, which might come down to it might come down to that pint of tea before bed. You know, that might be having an effect as well. And you know, you might be getting up a couple of times through the night, not remembering even, but you're like, oh, I'm tired. I feel like I've been on and off through the night. Like, and again, you know, you get it in front of you, you can look at it and you can start to put some patterns together and figure out obviously how to reduce them and stuff like that. So again, you know, having it doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be ideal, but having sort of any data in front of you that you can look at, anything that you can measure and look and like start to analyze stuff like that could be really, really helpful.
Definitely,
Uh,
especially if you, I mean, for anybody, even for like the layman, but if you're doing any kind of like fitness training and stuff like that, and you're trying to optimize yourself, then
mhm,
that can
mhm.
be like, you know, feel like you've got like some really bad DOMs the next day, you can look at your sleep quality, and then like that's like it's just another thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Like you say, if you can't optimize your sleep, like there's no way you're going to be able to optimize your health because it has such a big effect on it.
Yeah,
You
good
know,
point.
so it is something that you've got to look at as much as anything. Like I say, when I was setting a new client away in the gym, they'd be keen to jump into like meal prep and obviously doing their nutrition and training 5 6 times a week. And sometimes you've just got to take that little bit of a step back and just look at the basics. You know, how's your sleep? How are you
Definitely, man.
sleeping?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
yeah.
go on, bud.
No, it's just like I know you've kind of you mentioned it's it's just massively important, isn't it? And it's like it's when you're literally growing is in your sleep, right? It's like it's
Mhm.
when your body's recovering, and like that's the thing. You're never gonna kind of be able to gain muscle effectively, or whatever the goal is,
Yeah.
if your sleep's not optimized, right?
Yeah. You can lift the weights, you can tear the muscle fibers, everything that you need to do. You can eat all the protein in the world. At the end of the day, your body needs a chance to use it, you know, and like you say, repair themselves for them to come back stronger and more effective. Okay, question 7. So, driving while drowsy is similar to driving while intoxicated. And that one is A, that one's actually true, you know, so from a level of sort of efficiency, sort of our capacity, our ability to react to incoming stimulus and stuff like that. Yeah, when we're drowsy, it can actually be as sort of detrimental to our function and stuff like that as being under the influence. So yeah, that's something to be aware of when we're driving. If you wouldn't have a couple of pints and get in the car and drive, do you want to set your alarm for 5 minutes before you've got to roll out the front door? You want to give yourself time to wake up. You don't want to you don't want to wake up behind the wheel of a car. Do you know what I mean? Like, what you're saying, like, you sort of you wake up the second time and you kick in and your brain's like, right, I'm here. Yeah. What's going on? Yeah. And yeah, it's just something to be aware of, either if you've done a long day and you've got to drive somewhere, or if you're getting up and getting behind the car, sort of behind the wheel of the car pretty soon after that.
Have you seen some of the videos online, Rob, of the people like asleep at the wheel on the Teslas? The self-driving Teslas.
Oh yeah, that's so weird. That's so weird.
Crazy. Obviously, that's so dangerous though. Still, like, but like, yeah, there's literally like there's a lot of viral videos of like I saw recently. There's two people just fast asleep in the car, and the Tesla is like driving for them. Obviously, the Tesla does have it can drive. It has like a self-driving feature. And I think a couple of other electronic cars might have that now. But it doesn't mean you can just have a nap and then like decide when to like wake up.
We were on about that the other day because I'd seen that the new Tesla's got like a gaming console built into it.
Yes.
I was like, what sort of idea is that when you've got to drive? And I thought, hang on a second, they drive themselves now. Of course,
I know.
But yeah, I don't think I'd be able to switch off enough to get in and get my head down like for a couple of hours. Yeah. I'd be so on edge. So on edge. I think I'd have to hold the wheel just for like some kind of illusion of control.
But it's like on the motorway, they're just like having a nap, and it's just like.
It's the future's now, man. Okay, question 8. If you ever fall a few hours behind in the amount of sleep your body needs, you can never make it up. True or false? So for that one, it's false. If you don't get all the sleep you need, you kind of go into sort of what we call sleep debt. Your body sort of knows how many hours it needs to get back to the state that it wants to be in. And if you don't catch it up, it racks up and it accumulates. If you only get, and that's what we were on about earlier on. If you're only getting 4 hours a night, sooner or later that's going to catch up with you, and you're just going to crash. It's just not sustainable. And even if it's sustainable, it's not sustainable in a healthy way. Definitely not.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah, cool. Right, where were we? So yeah. Incentive as much as anything to get an early night if you're feeling a little bit tired. You can catch up from a bad night the night before. It's not the worst idea in the world if you're frequently struggling with your quality of sleep on the night, and you get the opportunity to nap during the day, maybe for half an hour or an hour. If you've got the chance to, I don't think there's anything wrong. Sort of, we're taking that. If it's in like the name of your health and your well-being and stuff like that. From time to time, there's nothing wrong with it. Mel's just saying, I think they've got a lot of extras to pass the time when it's charging. Yeah, all these lecky cars and that. Okay, so question 9: which of the following can result from not getting enough sleep? So we've got diarrhea, blurred vision, low-grade fever, or all of the above.
Oh, I remember, right? I did this. Obviously, Mel's in the chat, right?
Yeah.
I did this session before with Mel, and my answer to this, she absolutely roasted me about it. She was in stitches, so I was just wondering if you remember that, Mel. So yeah.
Oh man, I watched that video and I also remember your answer. It's like, so I'll stay away from Daniel when he's had a bad night's sleep. Comes in the office and says he's tired. I'm out of there. I'll get it out.
Unreal. That's so funny.
Yeah. Oh, Charlotte's just getting in the chat. Morning, Charlotte. Yeah. So that one is actually blurred vision. Blurred vision. Not diarrhea, not low grade fever. Oh, amazing, amazing. Yeah, it's gonna interfere with with your vision again, which is something to think about as well. When you pair it up with driving and being behind the wheel of the car and stuff like that. Um, it's your brain's ability to process information and sort of concentrate while you're on. And again, it can be handy to keep a bit of a sleep journal. To maybe just keep an idea of how well you are sleeping. I get the feeling Mel does remember me.
No, I just saw that as well. Classic, man.
Oh man, man. Okay, question 10. So not getting enough sleep can lead to weight gain. True or false? So that one is actually true. It can affect your appetite, leading to overeating. It can lead to low mood, where you're going to be going for those comfort foods that make you feel better, the sugary
Yeah.
foods that give you a good energy boost, dopamine release, that sort of thing. Them feel good hormones. But they're temporary fixes.
Yeah, like I say, like I think that I have loss of appetite when I don't get enough sleep, but what I do want to eat is crap. I can't
Mhm.
be bothered to cook, and I just think, oh, we'll just get takeaway or something like that because you're tired, so like you say, you're craving sugar. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's a really sort of vicious pattern you can sort of fall into as well. Again, you don't sleep well, you wake up and you just eat like a load of junk, and you're cruising through those sort of like sugar spikes and sugar crashes throughout the day. You get to bedtime, you still don't sleep very well, and the whole thing just starts again. So again, the way that you're sleeping can actually come around full circle and affect the quality of the stuff that you're eating when you're awake. You know.
Yeah,
And again, they say you are what you eat, and yeah, your body literally repairs itself with the fuel that you put in. So if you're eating a load of junk with not a lot of nutritional value, it's going to show. It's going to show. And again, it's all stemming from poor sleep. You know. Okay, where we at? Yeah. So again, just sort of craving a load of snacks, fast release sugars, just for that quick energy burst, and to temporarily make you feel a little better. It's again, it's just not sustainable, and it's not healthy. Okay, question 11. So sleep disorders and chronic sleep loss have been linked to which of the following? So we've got heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, or all of the above. And if you're watching back in the chat and you didn't get a chance to write any of these down as we were going through, just shout something out. Just drop something in there. If you've got any guesses, if you've got any ideas, sleep disorders and chronic sleep being linked to which of the following? We've actually got all of the above for that one. So it just sort of summarizes how important your sleep is. From helping us. Again, it's a cycle. Stress can affect your sleep. Being better rested and better equipped to deal with stresses and anxieties and stuff like that. Again, it puts you in a better place to deal and cope. Again, there's plenty in the world to stress about. There's plenty in the world to be anxious about. So the best, or what we can do to put ourselves in the best position possible to deal with those, let's do it. Give ourselves the best chance of coping. So yeah, all of the above for that one. Question 12. Insomnia is considered chronic when a person has difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep at least 2 nights a week for a month or longer. True or false? That one is false. So in order to be classed as chronic, the only difference is it's got to be 3 nights a week. So you sort of 3 nights a week, you're coming up almost half your week. 3 out of your 7 you're going to be having this really poor sleep, and that's when it's classed as sort of chronic insomnia. Acute insomnia can last like a few nights for a couple of weeks, but yeah, 3 nights for a month would be, or longer, would be classed as chronic. Okay, and then the last one that we've got, sleep apnea is characterized by pauses in breathing while you sleep, and these pauses can occur how many times per hour? So we've got up to 5, up to 10, up to 20, or 30 times or more. And this one is D, 30 times or more. So that is like in an hour. That's once every 2 minutes. For your breathing to be stopping while you're sleeping, or pausing. And again, that's going to really interfere with like your sleep cycles and stuff like that. And yeah, it's not even enough to wake you up. It's not something that you're conscious about. But like you were saying earlier on, buddy, you might be able to sleep. You might sleep 10 hours a night and still wake up feeling absolutely drained and exhausted, just because you're getting these little pauses in your breath while you're sleeping. Even if five times an hour would be enough.
I know.
You know, especially when we're saying, yeah, we might only get 2 hours of dreaming a night, and that's maybe the cycle of dreaming that's it's going to be really beneficial for us. For that to be interrupted every 2 minutes, you're going to feel absolutely wrecked, and that'd be one night. One night of that would do me in, I think.
Exactly, and I think that if anybody is thinks that they might have sleep apnea but they're not sure, definitely go and get it looked at, man, because
Mhm.
it can it can change your life, and it is dangerous actually, because
Mhm.
you can literally stop breathing in your sleep. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mel, but I'm sure Mel had a learner in a session who wasn't sure if they had it, did this session, went and got checked, found out they did have it, and then obviously greatly improved since then.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, I mean, I might be paraphrasing slightly there, but it was something along the lines of that, which I think is obviously really really great. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
um,
And it just shows you, awareness, as much as anything, information, getting it out there. So it is pretty much just coming from your airway collapsing or getting blocked while you're asleep, which it's scary to even consider, So just off the top of my head, common signs might sometimes be snoring, moaning, um, irritability, daytime, or like being sort of drowsy throughout the day, um, suffering with sort of like your memory, concentration, or maybe it's even like having a really dry throat when you wake up. If you're struggling for air and doing stuff like that. So yeah, that might just be if you are waking up regularly, feeling drowsy, feeling like you haven't slept well, dry throat. Again, it's just something to look into. We've actually got one of our other learners is really had troubles with sleep in the past, and he's sort of realised a couple of little things over the years, to maybe sort of help you get a good night's sleep. Um, Again, anything sort of that's going to help you sort of wind down before you go to bed, not looking at screens, that sort of thing. Obviously, be aware of lighting in the room that you're trying to sleep in. Believe it or not, like even wearing socks and gloves to bed, apparently can help some people get to sleep. I don't know if it's like a security thing, a
yeah, I've
comfort
heard that.
thing, a warmth thing, a circulation thing. I'm not entirely sure.
I've heard that,
Um,
bud.
yeah.
Mel just said in the chat there, which is like really interesting. She was saying, yeah, he was sleeping for sometimes 16 to 18 hours some nights,
Wow.
which is like that's like a koala. And he was saying that, but still, or a sloth or a koala, one of the two. And she's saying, but still waking up extremely exhausted. And she says when people live on their own with it, it often goes undiagnosed because they don't have a person there who's noticing that they're stopping breathing. So
Yeah, yeah, and sort of as if even as someone who maybe does live with somebody, even from a partner's point of view, it's concerning.
totally,
I mean,
totally.
I wouldn't be able to get a good sleep knowing full well that my partner was like next to me struggling to breathe while they were sleep and stopping breathing while they were asleep. Because so there's that as well. So it can even affect like multiple people in one household just from one person having it.
Yeah,
And like I say, the sort of quality of sleep that they're both getting.
and for people wondering as well, like how it can be helped, it's I think that you can get like an oxygen mask that you can put on when you sleep, and it can help like a great deal. So then having that would allow them to get a good night's sleep, which is we've learned today, it's massively important.
Yeah, and I imagine if it's something that you've been living with sort of undiagnosed, and you've maybe just got used to feeling a certain way day to day,
Oh
like
yeah,
you say, you're gonna feel like a new person.
definitely,
You can sort your
definitely.
sleep out. You really will feel like a new person. Um, you'll see massive changes. As like I say, as much as changing somebody's training plan can have a big effect, training someone's nutrition can have a big effect. In terms of mood and well-being and stuff like that, there's nothing that I've ever seen in people I've worked with, trigger a change as much as helping someone get their sleep sorted. Definitely. Okay. Quiz done. How did you get on, guys? How did you do? Right. So we're just going to roll on to so again, looking at other ways it can sort of affect our health or the benefits of good sleep. So we've got a word search to do. So we've got, I believe, I'll just double check. We've got 16 words in there, all to do with sort of benefits of sleep, effects of not getting enough sleep. So again, we'll take 5-10 minutes or so. Just have a scan through, see what words you can pull out, see if any stand out to you. There might be words in there that you've not come across before. Oh yeah, I've just Charlotte's just mentioned that. She said yesterday, and we were on about it in the drop-in sessions. Apparently, you get weighted blankets now.
Oh,
Apparently,
really?
weighted blankets help you sleep. I said I'd never get up. I said you'd not see me. Yeah. Apparently, it's meant to help with sleeping and sort of help with like anxiety and stuff like that as well.
It's interesting that.
I think they were saying that if a blanket's like 10% of your body weight or something like that, it just has some
Right.
kind of effect. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
going to have to do some digging into that this week.
That is quite interesting.
Really
I'm
interesting.
curious about that myself. Yeah.
We looked at one yesterday, and do you know what? Again, just while we're on sleep, and like I say, while the guys just take a little bit of time to pull some words out of here. Yes, a weighted blanket and maybe the new mattress is quite expensive. Like a new mattress, especially, you might be thinking, oh, it's going to be a couple £100 to go out and get myself a new mattress. We sort of broke it down yesterday, and we were thinking, like, even if you pay £365 for a mattress, even if you only use that for a year, it's £1 a night.
Yeah, exactly.
It's £1 a night for a better quality of sleep. And I mean, what, you might get 5-10 years out of a mattress, so again, it's investment,
Yeah.
a mattress like that might seem like a big investment to pull out all in one go, but if you can think about right down the line, I'd like to do that, I'll get myself one less takeaway a week, I'll get anything like that, one less night out a month, something like that can really add up, when of course when we're allowed out.
True.
But
Totally, man.
something like that you've got to sort of see as an investment in your health, I think.
Oh man, it's
Especially
so true.
if your quality of sleep is suffering. That's not to say everybody's in a position where we can go out and get a new mattress, but it's just something to think about and challenge that sort of perspective of, oh, that's really expensive, I can't spend that on my own health and well-being,
Yeah.
but I'm going to spend this on that instead.
Sure.
Funny how quick we are to sell ourselves short sometimes.
Yeah, or just even like it's weird how we could like as you're saying you could happily go and spend like however 40 to 60 quid, 100 quid on a night out, or
Is he?
40 quid on a good meal, but then it's like something that you need and you'd be like, nah, I can't get that. It's like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah, that's it, and because we've all got our different priorities and stuff like that and other responsibilities, but if you can find a way to help you sleep, it's going to have just such a big knock-on effect. It really is. All right, guys, how are we getting on? Can we see everything okay for a start? Yeah,
I
are
can
we?
screen a bit if make it a bit bigger.
I'm not sure. Maybe just a little bit, buddy, if you don't mind. Cool. So I believe none of these words run backwards or diagonally. Just to give you a little clue there. So none of them are backwards, none of them are diagonal, just up and down. Same again. If you've got your pen and paper from your quiz, maybe it's just jot down any of them that you do find. I find stuff like this as well, like a word search or a crossword. It's a good thing to do sort of early on in the day. Just get your brain working, get it moving.
It's a good
Who
point,
was
man.
that? There was like a range of video games came out years ago, and it was all to do with brain training and something like that. Doctor something.
It was for the DS, right? I remember
I
when that
think
came
it
out.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was for the DS.
I think it was, and it seemed to just spark a lot of like that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, at the time, just stuff to get your brain working, get you thinking, when normally we might be sat just sort of idle, scrolling or whatever. And I find that even just doing something like this, or like I say, a crossword, just gets your mind working, and just sort of kicks you into gear after you're coming out of that sort of drowsy sleep period.
For sure, no, it's a good point, man. It definitely does get your brain active and get you fingered. Um, so yeah, I totally can see that 100%.
Yeah, we're going to look at that a little bit next week, actually. Sort of, not brain training, but just sort of like mental sort of just a couple of different sort of mental tasks, you
Right.
know, and just looking at like I say, just brain activity and stuff like that. Because again, you know, when same as not getting enough sleep, there's a strong chance we're not tapping into our full potential.
But it's like they've shown though as well that if like they give people the same exam or very similar exams at like two separate times and then monitored their results, and like obviously I think that people who'd done an exam on the morning had performed under those people who'd done the exam in the afternoon.
Oh,
So
okay.
like don't quote me on that, but that's I think that I'm remembering that correctly. There's been all kinds of things like that, and it is interesting to see obviously, you know, because with examinations for like in general, you know, like is it going to be, is it, because obviously there's sometimes morning exams, there's sometimes afternoon exams. Is this a slight unfair advantage there?
Hmm?
Because it's like, you know, what some people are not a morning person, and I know that sounds like, well, you know, just go to bed earlier, but it's like that might could, they could, you know, someone's grade could get affected by that, and then that they've got that forever. So it's like,
Well,
you
yeah,
know, there's something to be said there, definitely.
yeah, definitely. Like, do you know what? I'd not even really considered that. Of course, the name of examinations and testing and stuff like that is to have everything sort of fair and level across the board,
Of course, yeah.
control conditions, so everybody's grades should be relative to each other's. But yeah, you know, that is going to have a big effect. It might even be somebody who, not like you say, it's not just a case of going to bed early. It might be somebody who is having poor sleeping problems or whatever, you know, really struggling to get a good night's sleep. That person is going to be at a disadvantage if the exam starts 9 o'clock on the morning, rather than having to 1 o'clock to maybe wake themselves up and um, get themselves into the right headspace for it. Yeah.
I think that in general, exams, you know, they've got the place. I think definitely, but it can be it can be not, it can't be, it's sometimes not the best, I think, to assess a person's like a skill level or ability level, because there's so many different factors that could happen on the exam day, you
Mhm.
know, that could really factor into it. So I feel like it's so much more effective to have a certain period of time where that person can kind of fully explain themselves, show all of their work, and then I feel like that's just so much more fair, really.
Yeah.
Than
Yeah.
so yeah,
Accounts for individualism a little bit, doesn't it? You know, and the
definitely,
fact that
yeah,
we are all individuals, and it's difficult to then pull together some kind of control condition like an exam or like a test, and be able to bring out the best of everybody. You know,
yeah,
like you say, an examination or a test, like that sort of thing. For example, like I've always seen as more of like a memory test.
yeah,
You know, it's like
exactly,
how
yeah,
well can you remember this information? It's not how well can you put this information into practice.
definitely.
And you know something that it cracks us up when I think about it. The whole like, oh, you can't have books in front of you for the answers. You can't. My favorite one was maths. Oh, you can't have a calculator because when you're older, you're not gonna have a calculator in your pocket. Like, well, who's laughing now? Who's laughing now? There's one on every single phone. But it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're day to day, if you take a job that needs you to know this knowledge, that's fair enough. But there's absolutely nothing that says you're going to be thrown into a situation on the spot where you need to know the information there and then. Can you not have 5 minutes to go away and research something, you know, and just refresh yourself? You know, if I had someone who was in the house to do some work, and I said, oh, do you know how to do this? And he said, yes, but I just want to go away and double check something first. I'd be much happier. Do you know what I mean? That he
Exactly.
was going away and checking it than just saying, oh, I'm just going to go from what I remember. I'm just going to do what I remember from the books. Yeah, I'll just do that. Like, if you need 10 minutes to go away and check something, go for it, mate.
Of
You
course,
know,
yeah.
but yeah, you're right, mate. There's a lot to be said for the fact that like I say, it doesn't that sort of testing and examining doesn't necessarily play to everybody's strengths. Definitely not. Okay, cool. And I think like you say that you've got other variables as well. Stress. It's a stressful environment to be in. You know,
Exactly, man. Really, yeah.
you could
So
stay up all. You could do months and months of prep and revision and stuff, and just the stress of the whole thing. You know, the perceived importance of, yeah, this is a grade I'm going to have for the rest of my life or whatever. You know, it's
if it's unfair because there's like a level of luck that factors into it. Like if you're studying, there's a curriculum, right? And on that exam, you could be obviously you should have a general like level of knowledge of stuff, but then you kind of find an area of the curriculum that you're more interested in, so you spend more time focusing on that part.
Mhm.
You know that part could come up in the exam and you'll do amazing on it, but then a part that you're less familiar with could come up. So it's like there's like guesswork involved, and I think that that's just ridiculous. Like I think that why should you have to you don't know which part's going to come up in the exam, so it's like because it could be a part that you know well or it could be a part that you know less well. So I think that that's just silly because some people might have actually remember that part a little bit better than someone else, and it's as you say, it just
Yeah,
becomes a memory test at that point.
it is. Yeah, it is. It is, and like you say, some of the brightest people I've ever known, over the years, some of the brightest people didn't do typically well on them sort of tests. Do you know what I mean? Like they just didn't, because it just doesn't sit well, and they've gone on to do really big things since we've sort of left school. You know, so it certainly doesn't define your abilities. Definitely not. Right, guys, how are we getting on with this word search? Do we want another couple of minutes, or are we ready to lash on from here? Um, I've got an answer slide as well, ready to rock. So
Right on.
save you highlighting them as we go through. Cool. So yeah, just hang on a sec. See if the guys want another minute or two.
Yeah, all good.
See, I find that even sort of being more sedentary myself, when lockdown kicked in, I really struggled with sleeping.
Yeah.
Um, because I was going from running around on the gym floor all day to obviously sitting at home. You know,
Right.
so
A
you're
lot of
not you're not
excess
you're not
energy.
burning as much, yeah, not
Hmm.
moving as much,
That
yeah.
makes
So
sense, really. Yeah.
not getting to the end of the day with like 25,000 steps under my belt, um, more like a thousand, like 1,500 some days,
I bet.
and
Yeah.
you know, certainly when weather was like so bad to get out for a walk and stuff like that, or just getting busy with other stuff. So yeah, even a change to your routine can affect your sleep.
Totally. It's a
You,
really good point,
you know,
actually, man.
and I think a lot of us, certainly in the last year, have probably undergone some massive changes to our sort of day-to-day life.
Totally. Yeah.
You know, so you might have always been a good sleeper, you might have always slept okay. It might be something that's relatively new. You know, you might be experiencing some of these things and some of these feelings and not really sure why. Maybe you hadn't even considered sleep. So it's definitely something to think about coming out of today. Okay, let's roll on then, buddy. Yeah, so we'll go
Let's
on to
do.
the next slide, and then I'll work my way. I'll do horizontal top to bottom, and then I'll do the vertical ones. So we have got so reducing stress. Yeah. Obviously making sure that we're getting good sleep. It can also leave us feeling in a better state of mind, in a better place to deal with the stress that we do sort of have to deal with and that we do come across. Just checking for the horizontal ones. Then we've got our environment as well. You know, so our environment's really important, especially the one that we're trying to sleep in. Gary had mentioned before. Even just using like different scents, different smells. I think it's lavender. I think that's meant
Yeah.
to help us sleep.
I've heard that.
Yeah, you know, maybe airing the room out before or like through the day or at a certain point through the day. You know, and get some fresh air in, and making sure it's nice and dark. Um, Even things like not covering not like pulling the duvet over your head. You
Hmm.
know, like that sort of thing, because that can interfere with your breathing and your sleeping as well once you are asleep. So yeah, your environment plays a like a big role in it. I used to have one client, one lady who she used to wake up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning every morning, and her phone was by the bedside cabinet, so she'd start scrolling, and
Yeah.
then that's it. Once you start scrolling, that's it. It's game over. You're awake. So she got to the point where she had like a little sort of like a unit in the hallway, and she just put a phone in the drawer in there. She's like, it's on like loud. If anybody rings in an emergency, I'll hear it ringing. But
Hmm.
that temptation to scroll in the middle of the night or before bed's not going to be there. And
It's a good one.
she started sleeping better as well.
Yeah, that's
You know,
good.
so yeah, think about your environment and the environment that you're trying to get to sleep in as well. Um, Smarter, coming down to those bottom two rows. Not it doesn't have to even necessarily be from like your basic like intelligence or IQ or something like that. Just brain function,
Yeah.
your ability to, like we're saying, process information coming in, deal with it properly, and then make decisions that aren't necessarily impaired through lack of sleep, and do it as quick or as sort of promptly as we need to. You know that feeling when you're tired and you feel dead drowsy and dead sluggish, and it feels like you maybe take a lifetime to react to something,
Bro.
or for the information to even sink in.
Yeah, there's been time. It's just such like a stupid comparison, but like I used to play my mate on FIFA all the time, right? And if I was ever tired, dude, I just what like I wasn't on top of my game, and he'd always beat me when I was tired, and he would
Yeah,
brag about it so much, and I was just thinking like, just wait, if I have a good night's sleep, I'll destroy you, man.
yeah,
And I will as well. But it's like it's all like my performance. It just goes like because the reaction time's not there, so it's like you have
yeah.
to.
Well, yeah. That's so funny. Like you see when you sleeping, master. Like, I'll be back in 8 hours.
That's it, man.
Yeah, I'll be back. You'll
Yeah,
not be able to handle it in 8 hours time.
yeah.
Class, man. But it is
Exactly.
anything like that, and I think certainly like with video games, it comes across a lot more because you're normally like milliseconds, aren't you? Like split seconds, making choices, pressing buttons, and certainly in games like that. And again, coming back to stuff like driving, that millisecond can make the world of difference.
Oh,
You know,
totally. Yeah.
it really can. Um, so yeah, brain function and brain activity is really important as well to sort of maximize. And then the bottom one on there is lifestyle. Again, thinking about your lifestyle. Are you getting exercise in? To maybe, like I say, give you a little bit of that sort of natural fatigue. But by the end of the day, are you eating a load of sugary foods throughout the day? That's, like I say, spiking your adrenaline up and
Yeah.
down, or like your insulin up and down. Sorry, and again, it can all have like a really big effect on your sleep and your ability to get to sleep and stay asleep. Like I say, if you sit endlessly scrolling like on your phone for 4 hours before bed, then you try and go to bed, and have a much harder time switching off as well. And but again, coming back to like the excessive alcohol and stuff like that. Again, that can interfere with your sleep in some ways. Even again, like I'm saying, like drinking a load of water and stuff before bed, like right before bed. If you're waking up to go to the toilet every hour, um, maybe try and just get that water in earlier in the day. Still get your water in, but yeah, just give your body chance to actually get a good night's sleep. Okay, so we'll work our way across the vertical ones then. So starting from the left hand side, we've got to repair your body, repair body. So we sort of touched on it earlier on. That is your body's chance to fix itself, to deal with anything that it might need to deal with. I mean, even when you wake up with like sleep in your eye, that is just from you. That's literally just your body sort of washing stuff out of your eye while you're asleep. It's your body's cleaning, your body's healing. And like I say, you need sleep, and you need a good quality of sleep for your body to do that as well as
Hmm.
it can. Um, Same again, when it comes to your training, train all you want. If you're not resting, you're not going to repair, and you're not going to get stronger, fitter, anything like that. Happiness is an important one. Next column across. Certainly like your state of mind. Sorry, and your ability to cope with things. I think we feel a lot better if we feel able to cope. We feel, like I say, if we feel suited to cope with something, we can approach it in a lot more of a positive mindset. I think it's when you feel unequipped to cope that you can get into that negative sort of defeatist mindset pretty quickly. And again, you know, your mood, your behaviours through the day are affected so much by your sleep.
Yeah.
Um, and like I say, there's of course other factors in your life, again, other responsibilities, other stresses. But I've never known anybody improve their quality of sleep and not feel better for it, and not be happier for it, and not be just in a better mood for it. You
Totally.
know, and I think if you can carry that through the rest of your day, again, you know, it can help you get through whatever challenges you might face in the day a lot better as well, with a good night's sleep under your belt. Your health, you know, and next one across, very similar sort of thing. You know, it's just giving your body a chance to catch up, and deal with everything that it needs to deal with and repair itself. Coming across another two columns from there, starting from the top, we've got concentration. You know, so again, coming back to that brain function, being able to focus on something, and then sort of linking into the next one as well, next column across, with just being more alert, you know, being more switched on. Coming back to what you were saying about just video gaming and stuff when you're tired. I mean, I've had nights online where I say, right, that's when you know that it's time to call it. And then, you know what I mean, where you're like, right, I'm done for the night now. If I'm doing daft stuff like that, you know, I'm obviously not thinking, it's time for bed. Like it's time for bed.
Smart, very smart, because that's when you lose, you want to get it back, obviously. So it's like, if you can just say, listen, tonight's not the night, and then
Yeah,
you can come back when you're feeling better, and then that's it. Because there's nothing worse than like, gaming and going on a losing streak. And
oh yeah, you're like, oh, go one more game then, one more game. I come
yeah,
off on a win. Yeah,
dude, especially if it's any kind of, ladder ranked game, like if you play like, Overwatch or CS:GO, or even like FIFA Online, which if you're like getting in the
yeah,
leagues and
yeah,
stuff, like, man, there's literally nothing worse than just going on a losing streak, and then your ranking goes down or something, and you're like,
yeah,
oh
yeah,
no.
yeah. You're like, I've got to get it back, and then
Yeah,
like, it's almost like a gambler losing a bit of money and trying to
yeah,
gamble to get
yeah,
it back,
yeah.
isn't it? You know, and very much often at the expense of our sleep.
Exactly, and just when you get stressed, and because you need to be alert, right? And so when you get stressed, you play worse, and then you're just playing, like, angrily playing the game, and then it's like you're not thinking. You need to kind of,
Yeah, yeah,
be relaxed to be able to
yeah.
kind of play well, right?
Then you get yourself irate, and there's no way you're going to sleep when you come off anyway. 3 o'clock in the morning, and you're sat there stressed, ready to chuck your controller
Oh
off the
yeah,
wall.
back into
Yeah,
bronze league.
yeah, that's the one, mate. Yeah, a long way back when you wake up the next day.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, cool. So just finishing these up. So, of course, we've got affecting your mood. Again, you know, we've sort of mentioned it, how a bad night's sleep is just gonna stay with you through the rest of the day. And coming back to what we said earlier about that sleep debt, that poor mood might stick with you until you've actually managed to catch that up a little bit. I get a headache when I'm tired. Actually, when
yeah. Me
I've
too,
had a
bro.
good night's sleep, I get headaches quite a lot.
Oh, me too, bro.
Yeah, which you ask Alex, that affects your mood. Yeah, definitely. Right. Improving memory as well. You know, the same again, just retaining information. You know, even little things. Where's my wallet? Where's my keys? Anything like that. Oh, I had to do that today. Or I was meant to be here saying this. I had this meeting. Um, it's just so much easier to forget when you're just in that impaired sort of state.
Totally.
Um, Coming across next column, more having more energy. You know, it's something that there's not many people I speak to that would say that they couldn't use more energy. You know, they would like a little bit more energy. Just again to do whatever jobs that they need to do, get through the day. Attitude as well is an important one. Again, you know, even just that mindset of or what is your mindset for the day? You know, are you in a positive space? Is your glass half full? Is it half empty? Is because whatever happens that day, you're going to perceive through that lens and in that way and in that mindset. And again, that's just been set by a night's sleep, you know, or potentially affected by a night's sleep. And
Yep.
then you've got the whole next day sort of dealing with the effects of that. Um, Reducing depression is a good one, you know. Same again, it's not always as simple as, like you say, just go to bed early. And more often than not, there are other stresses leading depression and stuff like that, especially sort of diagnosed depression, depressive symptoms, low mood, lack of interest in doing things, that sort of thing. Those can be improved just through sleep quality. You're much more likely to feel sociable, able to tolerate other people, or whatever dramas they might have in their life. What are they talking about, what are they stressed about? Again, it's just feeling more sort of in a better place to cope with it, and to sort of tackle that throughout the day. Preventing cancer as well. Of course, we talk about your body repairing itself. Think about like a cancer is a mutation in the cell gone wrong, isn't it? Pretty
Yeah.
much. Now, obviously, your cells are more often repairing themselves while you're asleep, and again, the quality of your sleep is improving your body's ability to do what it needs to do. Of course, that's not to say if you don't sleep very well, you're gonna get or develop cancer or anything like that. But there's definitely links, between quality of sleep, and especially as we get older, with technology that we have allowing us to, or our average life expectancy is a lot more now. We're able to see these some of these illnesses that are more common sort of as we get a little bit older. Now we're living longer, we're seeing these coming in and seeing the effects of sleep and other stuff like that on them. And then the last one, your physical health. Even when it comes to your fitness, your exercise, how many times do you tell yourself, I'm going to get up in the morning and do exercise, I'm going to get up in the morning and go for a walk? You have a bad night's sleep, and it's the first thing that goes out the window, isn't it? You can go to sleep with the best plan in the world. If you don't get a good night's sleep, it's a lot harder to stick to that plan when you wake up. Even if it might even just be a case of, do you know what, I've got an hour before work to exercise, but I've slept that badly, I'm going to try and have another hour's sleep. Do you know what I mean? Like, normally I would get up at 8, I'm going to sleep until 9. Do you know what I mean? Or something like that. And then your exercise is going to suffer because of that, And again, just before we move on, I found that it's sort of funny about sort of how when we're not sleeping well is when we're going to eat the junk food and stuff like that. And when we're eating the junk food is when we're not wanting to exercise, I find.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As separate as eating right and exercising are, they tend to go hand in hand. If somebody's exercising and trying to be fit, they want to eat the good foods as well. When normally that might be the person who could get away with a bit of a looser diet or enjoying your treats a little bit more because you're exercising.
I mean, it's in for a penny, in for a pound, right? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
I'm just out of KFC, you know what I mean? Might as well like sack the gym off tonight.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah. Whereas, it's someone who is going to go to the gym later on who could maybe get away with that. But again, when you're not sleeping well, you're not getting up and doing your exercise, you turn into junk food, and using the dopamine and sort of like the energy from that to get you through the day, which has obviously huge repercussions on your physical health as well, as we look at, and we'll look at a bit next week as well, because we're going to touch on the benefits of a healthy diet as well, so that's something to look forward to next week. And looking at food labels, the hieroglyphics that can sometimes present themselves as food labels, and trying to break down what the packet's actually trying to tell you, because it's can be quite overwhelming sometimes. So all that to look forward to next week anyway.
Good session as well, that one. It's because it's something that everybody can apply immediately, and people will be surprised, I think, by what they're actually eating and what's considered healthy, and actually how much is in that. So I think that it's a good session.
Yeah, definitely. I think that especially at the minute, if we're going to the shops and it might not even have stuff in, that you normally buy. You might be pretty familiar with certain brands, certain products. It might not be there. You might have to branch off, and you might have to get yourself something different at the minute. So being able to pick up the food packet and actually identify what's on it, and what it is that you're going to be taking home and actually putting into your body, it's massive. It can have huge knock-on effect on your health. So yeah, tune in next week for that, definitely. Okay, so just finishing us up for the day then, buddy. So moving on to the next slide, looking at sort of like some of the more sort of mental health aspects of certainly from like your lack of sleep or from your maybe it's a poor diet, not getting enough exercise, that sort of thing. Because they, like I say, they all link in really well with each other, which is it's really easy to get into some of the cycles that we can. And when it comes to depression and anxiety, we can see straight in the middle at the top there, one of the first things that is going to affect is going to be your sleep. We touched on it earlier on. It's one of the main causes of nightmares, going to sleep with stress and anxieties and stuff like that, because it manifests itself. There was sleep analysts over the world, dream analysts over the world, aren't there? That you'll go and you'll tell them your recurring dreams and certain themes that keep popping up.
Yeah.
And they'll do like digging deeper into that, and trying to figure out what stress in your life is actually triggering that. So again, it might be a regular dream that you've been having or had over the years. It might even be like a recurring nightmare or something like that. It might not be something that you've thought about, but yeah, it all comes from these external triggers, which saying also trigger from our sleep quality sometimes. So they just knock on. Sadness and low mood as well. All of those sort of those low mood feelings. They again, they're going to have a big knock-on effect if you're sort of down in the dumps, for lack of a better term, or whatever you might be feeling. Everything seems a lot harder, everything seems a lot harder day to day. You might have one day where you're feeling pretty good, pretty well sort of like equipped to cope with everything. You might get some setbacks, they might roll off your back, you keep going, you steamroller through the rest of the day. The next day you might be one sort of bad event from cracking. You know what I mean? You might be you might be on the edge, just like one thing going wrong away from saying, do you know what, like nothing's working, everything's going against us. And again, it's all well and good to just identify it as a certain mindset, but it doesn't matter too much when you're in it, and you're living it and you're dealing with it. It's about coping with it as well as you can, sort of in the moment. Again, touching on the unhealthy foods that we might sometimes crave when we're feeling low, when we're feeling down, something that temporarily makes us feel better, be it a packet of crisps, bar of chocolate, takeaway, anything that is just releasing them feel-good hormones, giving you a good whack of sugar. Again, it's a coping mechanism. It helps us get through that particular, maybe that hour, but it doesn't necessarily address the problem. And again, you've got like the physical knock-on effects from eating such so much unhealthy food.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's the issue, isn't it? It's these kind
Yeah.
of it's the fact that a lot of stuff that's good for us, it kind of, it could be maybe it could be hard. It's hard to go to the gym. It hurts to go to the gym. It's actually physically, like, it's a good pain, but it's painful to work out for extended periods of time. So whereas it's easy to binge watch Netflix, and yeah, you might feel good in that moment, but then you feel bad for it afterwards. It's the
Yeah.
same with like junk food, right? It's like sometimes, a healthy meals can obviously be very delicious, but sometimes you could think, I don't fancy that, it's a little bit boring, or it's I don't really fancy some veg. But then when you eat the bad food, you feel good in the moment once again, but afterwards you feel worse. So it's like, it's yeah, it's right what
It's
you're
a
saying.
loop, isn't it? It's a loop as well, because
Yeah.
then you get the guilt of not eating right,
Mhm.
potentially knowing that you should have eaten right, and then you get the guilt, and it sort of compounds and doubles down, and it just gets on top of you, leading to some of the other ones on there. You're worrying, you're stressing, low energy, again, it's all these vicious cycles, and it can sort of lead to I think two of the ones probably most worth mentioning on there: isolating yourself and just dropping out of activities, and really just sort of withdrawing.
Yeah.
That might be something that you notice in somebody else as well, so even just being aware of these for other people's benefit can be really healthy. You might notice a couple of these creep up in somebody's behaviors all of a sudden. You might think that's not like them, And it might just prompt you to sort of just check that everything's all right, offer them a little bit of support, because naturally, people are going to become a little bit more isolated. They're going to try and withdraw. You might catch yourself doing it sometimes, maybe it's on a bad day. Something that you've maybe agreed to do, and it comes to the day to do it, and you're like, I kind of, no, thank you, I'm all right. I don't think I can face it today, sort of thing, and again, I think, and these mental health problems, and these mental health issues, I think there is very much a sense of sort of divide and conquer. They know that if we get people alone, we're a lot more vulnerable and we're a lot more susceptible. We're more likely to give in to these negative thoughts and listen to these negative thoughts when there's nobody else there to challenge them and say, well, that's not true, or give you evidence that supports otherwise. So naturally, these sort of feelings want you to be alone, so you can go through them by yourself, because then that again compounds them and makes them feel even worse. So again, it's just something to be aware of. It might just be stuff that you see creeping into other people's behaviors. At the minute, I don't think there's ever been a better time to try and keep an eye on our neighbours, and certainly our loved ones, families and friends, those closest to us, and just be aware of any of these sort of creeping in, because you don't know what battles people are fighting behind closed doors.
Yeah, you're exactly right, man.
So definitely something to be aware of. Okay, cool. So we will roll on. Just to finish us up, we've got a little crossword to do. So I've got the clues my end. Same again. I'll go through them, read them out. That gives everybody a chance at the end to pause if they want to be able to take a little bit more time, and then we'll run through the answers before we move on to the fitness video or roll on to the fitness video. Which link's going to be in the description this week, isn't it, buddy? Yeah, we're gonna.
Yes, mate.
Yeah, cool. Nice one. Excellent.
Yeah. So for this week's fitness video, link's going to be in the description. I'll post the link in the chat as well, just so you guys have got it. And that's going to be the crack for this fitness fit, guys.
Awesome, buddy. Cool. So as always, I'm going to be sat obviously near the laptop, near my emails today. So if there is anything that you want to ask or anything that you're not sure of, just reach out and give me a shout. I've just noticed where Wib says he's getting away, off to get his bloods done. Top effort, buddy. I hope it goes all right. Stay safe, take it easy. Hopefully catch you next week. Yeah. Maybe if you get a chance, maybe just come back and finish this session later on. If you do want to catch the last 10-15 minutes or so. Okay, cool. So crosswords. So we've got one across. To share and express your thoughts and feelings to a person who will listen. Yeah. So all same again, all to do with our well-being and stuff that we've got available to us to again sort of help deal with and cope with some of the challenges that we face regarding our mental health. Okay, so 2 down. People tend to go on these once a year or so to get a break from their job. Give you a clue. That is it's the American term for the word. Yeah. So what do the Americans go on once a year or so to take a break from their job? Okay, 3 down. Time off from work doing nothing but enjoying yourself. Yeah. 4 across. What can happen if your body gets run down from stress or lack of sleep? So that one's 2 words. Give you a little clue there. That one's 2 words. Okay. Number 5. You should get about 8 hours each day to maintain health and happiness. So hopefully we'll be getting that one after today's session. 8 hours a day to help maintain health and happiness. 6 down. What is it called when people talk to a mental health professional? Because obviously that's a resource that we have available to us as well. You might find it easier to go and speak to a stranger, for lack of a better term. It might be easier someone who doesn't know you, somebody that you don't feel is going to judge you maybe so much. It's sometimes easier talking to somebody that you don't know and would never have to see again if you made the choice to, rather than going and speaking to someone who's really close to you. On the flip side, you might feel more comfortable going and speaking to somebody who knows you really well, and dealing with something one way or the other is totally fine. Just whatever feels more comfortable to you. At the end of the day, reaching out to anybody is more beneficial than sort of suffering alone. So whoever that may be, sometimes it can be tough, and I know it takes courage to do so, and a lot of respect to people who can get themselves to the point to do that as well, because you can see some big change from that. Okay, 7 down. So these are familiar people in our lives that help us cope with stressful times because they know us well and they listen. Yeah. So a certain group of people in our life that can help us cope with stressful times. 8 across. This is done out loud when something is funny and can make you feel better. One of the best medicines, so they say. Yeah.
Clue. That's a clue.
Yeah. Never gets old. Never gets old either.
Yeah.
9 across. To manage your stress through different ways that can make you feel better. So it's a word that I've used quite a lot this morning. Sort of your ability to what with something when it's a stressful situation. Yeah, your ability to manage your stress. Okay, number 10. You can do this at the park or at the gym or in the house. I'm sure a lot more of us are probably doing it in the house at the minute with same again with just everything that's going on. I know I'll not be doing any outside today if it stays like this. Oh man, it's still coming down hard.
I have to have a chat. Window's like right by me, so I have to stand up.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I'll have a look in a sec.
yeah. Okay, and then the last one is the feeling of high stress, panic, and worry. Can sometimes include physiological symptoms as well. So another word that we've talked about this morning, as well as depression and stress. Okay, cool. So yeah, if you have paused on any of those, by all means, take as long as you want. If you want to pause it there and take a couple of minutes and have a think, then by all means do. And we'll just take a minute or so to just work our way back through again. Daniel, if you're able to, maybe fill the boxes in as we go.
I'll have a look, mate. I'm not sure if I can because of the way, because it's like a picture. It's not like
Yeah,
so I don't know if I can write on top of it, but I'll have a little fiddle.
no worries if not, buddy. It's like I say, I'm aware of I'm aware of my limits when it comes to the tech side of things, and find it never hurts to ask because normally you guys blow me away with what you actually can do.
Let's have a look.
See,
Don't
no
actually, I
worries.
don't actually think I can, mate. Like not.
Not having a.
I tell you what though, I'll have a look into it, and I'll be prepared for next time. If this situation occurs.
Yeah, no worries, man. Right, cool. So the first one, one across to talk or express your thoughts or feelings to a person who will listen, is to talk. It's like literally just to talk, and that in itself can open a lot of doorways to recovery. And coping and dealing, communication. It might just even be resolving conflict with somebody. It might be a conflict or potential conflict that's had you stressed, anxious, sort of worried about that. The best way to deal with it is to communicate. Get your feelings out there, get your feelings heard, because I feel that that's obviously sort of like a really sort of negative mindset to get into as well, is just that you're never heard. Your opinion counts for nothing. If you do try and talk up, it gets sort of hushed or quietened. I think the ability of being able to talk and to be heard is massive when it comes to mental health. Okay, so 1 across was talk. 2 down, people go on these once a year or so to get a break from their job. Is vacation, or Americanized is it's vacation. We might just say just going to go on holiday, take a break. Like I say, it might even just be a little bit of time off. Just a little bit of time off from your some of your normal responsibilities. Okay, 3 down, time off from work, doing nothing but enjoying yourself. A little bit of relaxation we've got there for 3 down. Massive, absolutely massive. Having a little bit of time for yourself. Either be it something that you're passionate about, it can be your exercise, something that's beneficial to yourself. could be a hobby, something that just gives you a little bit of downtime. Find it's really important as well. I think there's enough goes on in life and society at the minute, where we give a lot of ourselves to other people, be it businesses, family, friends, certain groups. We've got responsibilities in life, and I feel that having something for yourself and just a little bit of time to relax and switch off from things is so important. Even if you
Yeah.
take half an hour a day, it's something for you, which can be a bit of a rarity, with the way things are. Okay, four across. What can happen if your body gets run down from stress and lack of sleep? You get sick. Yeah. That was the one that was two words. So we got get sick in there. Especially regarding sort of even like COVID and stuff like that. We all want our immune system in the best shape possible.
Yeah, yeah.
Not even to mention that sort of once we do go back to socializing more and being able to be in bigger groups of people again, we're gonna be getting exposed to maybe germs, viruses, or like other viruses that we've not had for a long time. Like I got such a bad cold from going and visiting my niece over Christmas.
Yeah.
We were allowed to do a little bit of visiting. Obviously, I've not. I've barely seen her since lockdown kicked in, and even just because obviously she's still been at school and stuff like that, or she was when they were open, leading up to Christmas, and obviously stuff just spreads, between kids, and I just got hit with this cold from nowhere because I've not been exposed to it for so long, So you think about even as things open up again, as we move forward, we're going to be getting more exposure to other stuff, and again, we want our immune system in the best sort of shape to cope as possible.
Good point,
And
mate.
especially if you're exercising and not sleeping well, you're just going to get more and more run down. Your body's not going to be repairing, like we've mentioned, and yeah, you'll get sick in one way, shape, or form. Okay, so you should get about 8 hours a day to maintain health and happiness. Is of course sleep. Based on your age, we looked at earlier on. Based on your age, you might need a little bit more. But yeah, it has a huge effect on our health and our happiness, and I think that often gets forgotten. Sometimes it might just be your lifestyle, and you just got to grab what sleep you can get. If you might have a newborn, you're not always in the same how much sleep you get. Sometimes it is just a case of taking what you can get.
True, man.
To an extent, the more you get, the better you're going to feel for it. Okay, so 6 down. What is it called when people talk to a mental health professional? It's counselling. If you've ever had maybe someone mentioned that they're going to counselling, or maybe it's being offered it yourself, it can be really, really beneficial. Again, you're talking, you're communicating, you're not dealing with things alone. You're getting your point of view out of there to somebody who probably in this case doesn't know you. There's a little bit of anonymity there. And you might feel a little bit more sort of comfortable to talk, but at the very least, that they're going to be trained to deal with whatever you're dealing with or experiencing, and chances are you're not going to go along and tell them something that they haven't heard before or haven't dealt with before, at the end of the day. So there's no reason to worry, obviously bar the just our natural inbuilt ability to worry as humans. But there's nothing really to fear going and speaking to a counsellor, or then there's certainly no shame in getting help, certainly for your mental health. I think there's a lot of stigma around men
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
getting mental sort of mental health advice and help, and even to an extent just opening up and talking about their mental health. And I feel that those are certain perceptions that need to be broken down and done away with, because it doesn't matter what your gender is. We just sometimes we all need help as much as anybody else, and there is absolutely no shame in seeking a little bit of help. Absolutely not. Okay, 7 down. Familiar people in our life that help us cope with stressful times because they know us well and listen, is our friends. Sure, a family would probably fall under that bracket as well. For the sake of the crossword, we're going with friends. It might just be a friend. Could be someone who's relatively new. Could be someone that you've known years. Um, Friendship is certainly, I don't think, measured in how long you've known somebody. You
Yes, good
know,
point.
you can meet someone and pretty quickly have quite a good relationship with them, feel really comfortable with them. At the same time, there might be somebody that you've known years that you don't feel happy talking to. But even just little things like right now, I know we're quite limited, but it might be a phone call to your friends or a FaceTime to your friends or keeping in touch over messaging and stuff like that. If you'd rather do it that way, even that can be a huge help rather than just certainly just going through day to day by ourselves. Certainly in the sort of circumstances we're in right now.
Definitely.
Okay, so eight across. This is done out loud when something's funny and can make you feel better. It's laughter. Laughter is the best medicine, you know. It's one of the things like if somebody's you ever had that where somebody's in a bad mood and you're trying to cheer them up and you can see them, they want to laugh, but they're just not having any of it. They're like, no, no, and
Yeah, dude, definitely. And it's the best, especially if you've got a girlfriend who's mad at you or something like that. If you make them laugh, then that's it. You get your job sorted, really, isn't it? It's like,
the Homer Simpson, isn't it? You
yeah,
laugh,
yeah,
I'm off the hook.
yeah,
I'm off the
exactly,
hook.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, but do you know what? Even something like putting on, sticking on a comedy
Yeah,
on a streaming service or online or a DVD, finding a live stand up on YouTube, something like that.
yeah.
It just something to have a bit of a giggle. I can flip your day on its head. Like it
Oh,
really can.
100%, mate. Like literally, like they're probably the best times that I've ever had in my life is like laughing, with my friends or my family. Like just something when you're sharing like an experience, when you're laughing at something together,
Yeah,
you remember
yeah.
that. You always remember that. It's in it. It's all, there's no better feeling, is there, when you cry and laughing from something.
Oh, when it hurts.
It's
When it
amazing.
hurts,
I
yeah, and you're
love
like,
it, man.
oh, it's
I
got to
really do.
stop. Oh, yeah,
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 yeah.
definitely.
It's good fun.
And again, that could be that can literally be somebody that you've just met. I mean, if you'll know yourself if you've done a little bit of online gaming or something like that, you can meet somebody, like end up spending the night playing games against them or getting in their team or whatever,
Yeah,
and you could sit there and laugh yourself bad, and then just go your separate ways after that.
yeah.
It's a smaller world than it's ever been. I think with technology and the ways that we've got to be connected
The
right now.
the best thing about laughter as well is it's involuntary, so you can't like if you
Yeah,
can't control it. You just if something's funny,
yeah,
it makes you laugh, and
yeah,
that's the beauty of it.
yeah,
And it's literally like it's as you're saying, mate. It's like you can like evoke or provoke like a positive response out of someone. Like someone could be feeling really sad, and because laughter is involuntary, when they're laughing, they feel good. Like that's just the way it is. So it's like it's that's why it's such a good medicine, because it's like
yeah.
it can literally like force happiness. It's like
Yeah. And it's universal as well, isn't it?
exactly, yeah.
Who worldwide doesn't recognize a laugh when they hear it.
Hmm.
It's just pure sort of like you say, positive feeling and positive emotion. And I tell you what, there's nothing more funny than when you shouldn't be laughing. Do
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Oh man, when even like when when you're in school or something and someone and the lad next to you is getting absolutely rinsed by the teacher and you're
oh
like
yeah,
don't
yeah,
laugh otherwise that's me next.
classic.
But do you know what, like it just sticks with you, doesn't it?
I
it,
love
it, it really does.
contagious laughter as well. Like when someone you find something funny with someone and then you guys start laughing about it together and then sometimes you like laugh at their laugh and it's like that's
Yeah,
just amazing.
yeah, definitely. I mean, there's I've seen a compilation on that before on YouTube,
Yeah,
where it was just like one guy released this hilarious video of him just sat giggling to himself, and the video was that funny it started getting like
there you go.
responses and reaction videos to people giggling, watching him giggling, and
That's
it's like,
amazing.
do you know what, yeah, 20 years ago even we didn't have the technology to share that.
Yeah, there you go, yeah.
It never been easy to spread anything, I guess, but certainly laughter.
I was watching it. This is so off topic, but like very very briefly. But so just like very very briefly. But I was watching like a Nirvana interview, and it was like on like some like Dutch TV show or something like that. And I was just thinking like Kurt Cobain never knew that the internet existed. Like he never he when he was alive there was no internet. So it's like thinking like when he was doing that interview on like some Dutch TV show, in the early 90s, he would have never in his mind at that time thought like he thought no one's going to see this because he would have never thought that like the internet would exist or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Within 20 years, it's going to be uploaded somewhere that people can come back and just watch it anytime they want,
yeah, so I thought that was
worldwide. Yeah,
so crazy.
yeah, yeah. It's and again, it's been an amazing way for us all to keep in touch through certainly through the restrictions and stuff like that. Even down to what we do, the work that we do and enjoy doing. Being able to be online. It's amazing helping us stay connected with all you guys out there as well. Okay, just to finish us up then. So last couple, 9 across, we had to manage our stress through different ways that can make you feel better. Is to cope. Yeah, literally just cope in there. Same again. It can make a huge difference. I think our perceived ability to cope or not cope is going to reflect on the way that you look at something. If you've got something coming in, it might be an extra assignment that needs doing. It might be another job that needs doing around the house. Again, if you feel able to cope with it, yeah, it's stressful, but you put it on the back burner, you take it in your stride. If you're on a point where you feel unable to cope, that's when you're going to start to shut down. Everything's going to feel too much. You might feel overwhelmed. So again, a lot of it's not about trying to eliminate stress and anxiety because it's impossible in day-to-day life. So our ability to cope is going to be a huge factor in just where we go from there. Okay, number 10, you can do this at the park, at the gym, or in the house, is exercise. If you are struggling for ideas of what to do, we've got plenty of fitness videos up by now. Like I say, there's going to be a link in the description that you can do, which is pretty much a full body exercise today, a full body session today. I always try and make a point of trying to make sure there's some exercises in there for if you have got something that's stopping you doing a particular exercise, be it a bad knee, bad back, or whatever. I always try and make sure that there's alternatives in there as well. So there should be something in there for everybody. So by all means, give it a go. But yeah, the minute we're kind of limited to what we can do, I might be just using bits and bobs from around the house. I've used little tins of soup out the cupboard as little mini weights and stuff like that before. But we're by no means banned from exercising at the minute. We just need to be a little bit more creative in how we get it in, I think. And again, I've mentioned before, not necessarily exercise sort of stuff, just activity. Household jobs. Are you running the hoover around? Are you dusting? Are you even just standing and washing up? Are you cooking? Are you having a bit of a boogie around the kitchen while you're cooking tea or sort of something like that? It's all burning. And again, coming back to them sort of trackers and like smartwatches and stuff that you mentioned earlier on, you can get a decent one for like 20 quid now, and it'll track your steps sort of through the house throughout the day, so you get an idea of how active you've been, even if the idea of, oh, I'm going to do like 45 minutes like bodyweight exercise in the house doesn't appeal to you. So there's always something that we can do. And again, it's probably extra important at the minute because we're just a little bit more sort of cooped up.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Okay, and then our last one, the feeling of high stress, panic, and worry can sometimes include physiological symptoms, is anxiety. It can sometimes be something that you're consciously anxious of, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, I'm dreading this, I'm worried about this, I'm concerned about this. Other times it might be a case of you might just feel like a bit shaky, a bit jittery. Like, truth be told, if I drink too much caffeinated coffee, I get a bit like angsty. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's something that they sort of mention when you look at your caffeine intake and stuff like that. I've spoken to a few people over the years who have decaf purely because drinking caffeinated coffee makes them like experience like anxious symptoms. So that's something to be aware of as well. But yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong, and there's no shame in not even realizing what's making you anxious. I think, again, especially at the minute, there's enough going on. You don't necessarily have to be able to put your finger on it.
I mean,
You might just be experiencing some of them symptoms.
Generally, yeah, for anyone who's got like anxiety, I think like caffeine is it's only going to usually amplify that. I know that people do need it to kind of like for brain stimulation, and it is amazing for that. But I definitely think that caffeine can make it worse if someone has anxiety, I think.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Yeah, you mean there's the trade-off, isn't there? You know, is the extra brain stimulation worth it?
Hmm.
If the extra brain stimulation and my brain being more active is leading to these overthinking, these anxious thoughts, and again, you know, that there's a sort of a time and a place. So it's just again just something to be aware of when it comes to your caffeine. But in terms of certainly like sort of like the symptoms of anxiety and stuff like that, it might only be they might be new, but if there are a couple of them that you're maybe thinking, oh, do you know what, I've felt like that from time to time. It's something to consider, and of course reach out to somebody. You know, I think when it comes to mental health, the earlier you can sort of identify and acknowledge something, the easier it's going to be to sort of cope with and address. And I think, you know, by the time we come out of the lockdown, or when we get to a point of normality, we're probably going to be looking at over a year of living with certain restrictions and stuff like that, you know. So we can get in some really bad habits, you know. So I think it's handy to keep ourselves in check as best we can. So if you do catch yourself slipping, yeah, please reach out to somebody, even if it's us, you know. And we can maybe point you in the right direction from there. There we go. Cool. Right, buddy. I think that'll about do us for today. If we can just spin on to the last slide ever so quickly before we finish off.
Yeah, no worries.
Again, you know, just when you can. And again, if you're watching this back and I'm sending out sessions or courses all together, I'm going to make sure everybody getting a survey for each session that they've maybe missed up to this. This is the first week of our Fit Body Fit Mind course, you know. So if this is the only one that you're doing, there shouldn't be anything still to catch up from. But yeah, let me know if you need the survey. Daniel, did you say it's going to be? Is that going in the description as well, or are you posting that after?
Yeah, the price be out. It's not up just yet. I had a bit of issue getting
Yeah.
it sorted this morning, but it will be in after. So yeah.
Oh, nice one.
Yeah. So if you're watching this afterwards, it's probably already there. But if not, it'll be there soon. If you're watching it now.
Cool, nice one, nice one. Thank you, buddy. Okay, so just a quick brief look forward to next week. Next week's session, like I mentioned earlier on, we're looking at food labels and the benefits of eating a healthier diet. Again, you know, the nutrition side of things, I think is really easy to slip on at the minute. You know, I think I've certainly found there were some days where I'd catch myself because the convenience is the kitchen's right there. You know,
Exactly.
the kitchen's next door, and you think, oh, I can grab something whenever I want. So what do? You wait until you're starving, and then you go, oh, well, I need something now. I don't want to wait half an hour for me tea to cook, and you just end up grabbing stuff. You know, so yeah, I'd seen something the other day someone saying that they've got a tan from the fridge bulb through lockdown.
That's actually so funny. That's amazing.
Yeah, man, come out of lockdown looking like David Dickinson. But, but yeah, definitely, yeah. I think we could all learn a little bit of something from looking at our healthy diet and looking at food labels and stuff like that. So yeah, tune in next week for that. And yeah, by all means, give today's little fitness video a go and let us know how you get on.
Yes.
Failing that, week 2 of 2 or session 2 of 2 will be next Tuesday, exactly the same time, 10 till 12. And I'll make sure everybody gets the link, so you can either jump in the live chat or watch that back as well.
Yeah.
Excellent, buddy. Cool.
Cool.
Right. Well, thank you for your help, Daniel. Cheers, man.
All good, man.
And I hope everybody has a good week. Stay safe. Take care of yourself. And yeah, by all means, reach out if you do have any questions or anything.
Yeah, so I've the link to the fitness video is in the description, and I've also posted it in the chat there, guys. So that's what that link is there if you'd like to follow that over, and then you can do the fitness video. So we've got Gary coming in. He says I've just woke up.
I've just noticed that.
So
yeah.
We're just leaving now, Gary Bud, but obviously you can watch back and have a little look through it, mate. But it's still good to see you, and it's good to see you in the chat, bud. So
yeah, definitely, man, definitely. I've actually imparted some of your words of wisdom this morning, mate. We've been looking at sleep quality and stuff like that. So yeah, again, plenty of stuff that that you've mentioned as well. So yeah, I've made sure that the guys get those little hints and tips that you use as well, buddy. So yeah, thank you for those. Right, guys. Call it there then, buddy, I guess.
yeah, let's do it, man.
Yeah,
Right,
nice
crackers.
one. Right, guys. Yeah, take care, and I'll see everybody next week.